There's a moment, brief, quiet, often overlooked, when a woman leans in to hug you, and in that moment, more is spoken through silence than words ever could say. Most men miss it. They treat it like any other hug, a casual embrace, a passing gesture. But a Stoic man knows better. He understands that the body has its own language, and that her arms may be saying what her lips are not yet ready to confess. When a woman wraps herself around you, she isn't always just being polite. Sometimes, she's feeling your energy, testing your presence, measuring your calm. She wants to know, can you hold her without needing her? Can you stand firm without chasing? In a world full of desperate gestures and anxious validation, your calm becomes rare, your restraint becomes attractive, and your embrace unforgettable. Today, you'll learn the 4 types of hugs women give, and how the high-value man reads each one, not with anxious excitement, but with grounded awareness. Because it's not about doing more, it's about being more. Let's begin. Yet every shift in her touch, every second she lingers longer than before, tells a different story. And when the hug deepens, even slightly, so does the test. It's the hug of boundaries. Quick, polite, harmless. You lean in. She pats your back like a coworker saying goodbye after a long meeting. Her chest barely touches yours, and her posture stays tilted just far enough to keep space between you. This is a friend's pat, her silent way of saying, this is where you stand. Most men take this as rejection, but the grounded man, he doesn't flinch. He understands that attraction doesn't always begin with fire. It begins with presence. She might be testing to see if you'll crumble, if you'll try harder, if you'll chase. But instead, you stay composed. You don't act disappointed. You don't overcorrect. You simply mirror her energy and let it be. Because what unnerves her is not your attempt to impress. It's your refusal to need approval. And when she realizes you unfold into friend zone just because of one hug, the dynamic shifts. This is your ground to build tension, not through flirtation, but through silence, through eye contact, through showing her that your value isn't determined by proximity. It's determined by how you carry yourself when she pulls away. You don't have to escape the friend zone. You transcend it by becoming the one man she can't quite figure out. Yet every shift in her touch, every second she lingers longer than before, tells a different story. And when the hug deepens, even slightly, so does the test. This one lingers just long enough to catch your attention. She presses in slightly. Her grip is firmer. There's a calm in her chest. Her body softens, not in full surrender, but in comfort. This is not friendship. This is familiarity, emotional safety. She's saying, I trust you, but don't confuse comfort with desire. Here's where many men go wrong. They rush it. They pull away too fast, as if to show restraint. Or worse, they lean in too much, chasing validation. A high-value man knows the power of timing. So you hold just 1 second longer than expected, not because you're desperate, but because you're intentional. You're not reading the moment with your ego. You're reading it with awareness. You watch her body language. Does she smile? Does she linger? Do her eyes search yours? If so, she's opened the door. Subtly, you don't kick it down. You simply stand there, steady, let the silence speak. Let your stillness stir something in her. And when you do let go, do it slow. Maintain eye contact. Let your presence leave a trail. You want her to walk away still feeling the echo of your energy. Because the man who doesn't rush stays on her mind long after he's gone. And then there are moments that aren't just warmer, they're heavier. She stays close, not because she has to, but because part of her doesn't want to let go. There are hugs that end quickly, and then there are the ones that hang in the air like smoke, thick, quiet, and charged with something unspoken. This is a lingering embrace. She holds on just a little longer. Her hands pause on your back. Her chest relaxes into yours. Time seems to stretch, not in seconds, but in sensations. Her breathing slows. Her posture melts. And suddenly, you're not just standing in her space. You're inside her comfort. This moment doesn't ask for words. In fact, word would ruin it. It's a pause where energy speaks louder than logic. And this is where the undisciplined man ruins it. by trying to find what's already being felt. He jokes. He pulls back nervously. He lets fear or desire interrupt something sacred. But the Stoic man, he stays. He doesn't flinch under emotional weight. He doesn't mistake closeness for conquest. He allows the moment to breathe without needing to rush it into meaning. You see, when a woman lingers in your arms, she's not just testing attraction. She's revealing vulnerability. She's asking in her own wordless way, "Can I lean on you and still be safe?" Your task isn't to seduce. It's to anchor. Let your hands speak gently. A light placement on her lower back, not possessive, but grounded. Let your breathing match hers, not to manipulate, but to show calm resonance. If she presses deeper, match her presence, not aggressively, but with weight, like a tree that doesn't move in the wind. When she finally lets go, don't be the first to shift away. Let her choose the timing. And when her eyes meet yours after, say nothing. Let your gaze say everything. The man who can hold her without holding on to her becomes unforgettable because you didn't rush the moment. You respected it. You didn't demand connection. You embodied it. And that's what lingers longer than the hug itself. But when closeness becomes surrender, when her entire body softens into yours like she's home, you're no longer reading signals. You're holding something sacred. Then there's the rarest of all embraces, the kind that stops time, the one where she surrenders without saying a word. She rests her head on your shoulder or buries it into your neck. Her hands trace lightly across your spine, or her fingers curl into your shirt. She exhales not out of tension, but release. This is the embrace of trust, of intimacy, of deeper attraction, emotional, physical, and psychological. Most men panic here. They either rush it into romance or stiffen out of fear. They think, "What do I do now?" as if action is the answer. But in reality, she's not asking for more doing. She's asking for more being. Your strength now is not in what you say or what you initiate. It's in what you can hold. Hold the emotion. Hold the silence. Hold her fully and patiently. If she's chosen to fold herself into you like this, it means she's bypassed the logic of attraction. This is instinctual, felt. Her body is speaking for her. And only a grounded man will understand what's being said. Don't interrupt. Don't shift. Just breathe. Let her feel the stillness of a man who doesn't need to rush to the next thing. Let her experience what it's like to be in the arms of someone who is both calm and capable of intensity without chaos. If she gives a small squeeze, returns to the same spot, or tilts her head in closer, don't speak. Just stay. Let your warmth, your frame, and your breath do the talking. Because in this moment, you are no longer being tested. You are being trusted. And nothing is more attractive to a woman than a man who can handle closeness without needing to control it. And when the moment passes, what matters most is not how long you held her, but what she felt when you did. Because true power isn't found in the touch. It's in what remains after the touch ends. In a world full of noise, touch becomes one of the few sacred languages left. A hug, something so ordinary on the surface, can become a battlefield of energy, of presence, of unspoken truths. Most men treat it like nothing. They rush it, fumble it, or they read too much into it, letting their insecurities rise to the surface like oil in still water. But the man who practices restraint, the man who moves through life with intention rather than impulse, he understands something deeper. He knows that attraction is not about saying the right words or making grand moves. It's about stillness. It's about energy. It's about the feeling she carries when she walks away. And that feeling, my friend, doesn't come from how tightly you held her. It comes from how deeply you were present. When she hugged you, were you nervous? Were you seeking something? Or were you anchored, composed, calm, and centered? The Stoic man doesn't seek to conquer her. He seeks to master himself. Because he knows the man who controls himself commands the room. And in that moment, where her breath lingers on your collarbone, where her hands pause just a second too long, where her head rests against your chest, you become more than just a man she hugged. You become a man she felt, not with just her skin, but with her intuition, with her guard down, with her feminine core. And she won't forget that, not because you impressed her with words, but because you didn't need to. You see, when you stop trying to make an impression, you start becoming unforgettable. So, the next time she leans in, don't rush, don't analyze, don't perform. Just be. Be the man who doesn't flinch in silence, who doesn't grab, who doesn't need the moment to become something more, because he already is something more. Be the man who makes her feel safe without smothering, who can be close without collapsing into need, who can hold her without having to own her, because that man, that's the man who lingers in her memory, not as a fantasy, but as a presence. So let your stillness speak. Let your energy wrap around her stronger than any words ever could, because true masculinity isn't loud. It's quiet, strong, composed, and unforgettable. If this message spoke to something deep in you, something you've always known but rarely heard, then this space is for you. Subscribe for more grounded truths, for more reminders of the strength you already carry. And if this resonated, leave a comment below. Because silent men still build legacies, and we build them together.